Hello, Lizzie. How are you?
Tired. How are you?
Awake.
Wake is good.
Cool. So today we're going to talk about grip as it applies to the snare drum. We're going to talk about traditional grip. There's many different kinds of grips. We have match grip. We have traditional grip, French grip. A lot of school kids are using match grip nowadays. So we're going to talk about traditional grip because a lot of high school drum lines, drum corps, college marching bands are using that today. So figured since we're in college, why not? So first we're going to talk about how you hold the stick. And we're just going to start with the right hand first and talk about what the right hand is doing. The right hand is going to be the same as matched grip. So what you're going to do is take these two fingers, your pointer and your thumb, and grab around the stick like so. Then you're going to wrap the rest of the fingers around. Now this is how you hold the stick in match grip. You can kind of play around with it a little bit if you want. Cool. So this area right here is what we call the fulcrum, and this is where the stroke really is initiated, and this is where you get your power from. And then the fingers are just kind of tagging along for the ride and supporting the stick as you play. But it is very important while you're playing to keep your fingers on the stick, because the big tendency is for your pinky to come off the stick. And if you play like that for too long, it'll hurt, it'll cause injury. I've been there. And it's not much fun. So that's the right hand. Now the left hand. And we're just going to do this one stick at a time because it's a little bit easier. Now your left hand, you're going to make like a peace sign almost. Almost, with your thumb sticking out. You're going to take the stick and you're going to turn it over so it's facing you. And you're going to put the stick through the pocket of your thumb and first finger and just let it rest there. You can do that with your right hand if you want to hold it there. Now you're going to close this area right here, and you can hold the stick with your right hand so it stays together. And your thumb is going to form a T, like this. Kind of.
Oh, wait. Now I'm totally flicking people off.
Right.
Oh.
Well, that's about to get wrapped around.
Oh, that's
so
sad.
that won't happen.
Oh, that's sad. Anyway.
Now put your ring finger right there, so the stick is kind of like this now. Then your pinky comes under your ring finger, and the middle finger wraps around the stick like so. So you're not quite making a fist. It's like a kind of a weak fist. And then the thumb will just come up a little bit more. Make sure it's not facing in like that. Make sure it comes up and like a T. There we go. And we want to make sure there's no gaps in the stick anywhere. A lot of younger players like play like this with the middle finger way off, still kind of connected, or like the pinky way out here. The concept of the pinky staying on the stick is the same on the right as it is on the left. So you can just mess around with it a little bit. Cool. So now we're going to talk about what to do with both sticks. We've mastered one hand, but we got to do two. So, start with your hands by your side, and I'm going to have you stand behind the drum, actually. Now take like a step back and kind of bring your arms up from your side into what you think playing position is. Then approach the drum as if you were going to play it. Cool. That's pretty much dead on. So what we want to keep in mind while we're getting ready to play these exercises and talk about stroke types is where the bead of the stick, which is this part of the stick, is in correlation with the head. And we want it 90 degrees in the center of the head like so. Slight angle up, not too much, not too little. We don't want to be too flat, but we want to play right about here. Beads as close together without hitting. Now, when you start playing these exercises at first, you're going to hit bead a few times. It's going to be loud and it's kind of going to clank, but it happens, and with practice you'll eliminate that. And I play with virtually no stick clicks now, but I'll never say never because it happens. Alright, so try that. with all that in mind, go ahead and try the bead placement.
Just play.
Okay. Move it up to this. This is the center. Cool. All right. Now we're going to talk about stroke types. So now we're actually going to start playing. The fun part. So there are 4 different kinds of strokes. Do you know what they are off the top of your head?
All right, all left.
Yes. But there's also different ways to define the strokes we do off the right and the left. So the first stroke type I'm going to teach you is the most common, is a full stroke. So the stick will start up here, it'll hit the drum, and it will go right back to the starting position. So we'll do it in the right hand first. You can just play along with me. By yourself. Cool. So make sure when you play a full stroke that you're not hitting the drum and then manufacturing that movement to come back
I
up.
felt like I was hitting the whole stick on it too.
Yeah, we want to avoid rim shots too, and that's when your grip gets a little too flat. So that's one thing to watch.
I like rim shots.
I love rim shots too, but not what we're going for. Make sure you don't manufacture that movement up, because this seems to be a common theme, but a lot of it's just to prevent injury. It's a lot of impact on the wrist, which has also hurt me a few times too. So make sure it comes all the way back up. The fingers will be a little looser on the stick. They won't come completely off, but there will be a little bit of space in the meaty part of the hand. So let's just try the right again. You can drop your left for now. Alright, better. Now the left hand is
Stupid.
is very not fun when you have to play with it at first. But I'm going to try and teach you how to make it more fun. So, we're going to bring the left hand up, and the initiation, unlike, is from the wrist in the right, but you also have to manufacture a little bit more turn in the left, since the palm of your hand is basically facing the ceiling. And that's another thing to keep in mind with the grip, is make sure you don't collect water. Like if it was raining right now, you would want water to not collect in the center of your hand. You would want it to be more turned over so it would run off. Which also is convenient if you really are playing and it is raining, then the water just runs off. So make sure it's turned over, and you're doing a good job with that. Okay, so for the left hand stroke, we're going to lift, and it's just going to be the same as the right. Come back up. Okay, one thing to watch out for is your middle finger is kind of coming off the stick and going under, actually. So make sure it stays on top. And one thing you can do is push, or is curve your ring finger and your pinky a little bit more under the stick. But make sure they're still touching. There we go. And the middle finger can come up a little bit. Cool. That should help. Cool. Make sure you let the drum do a little bit of the work and rebound. Much better. Awesome. So that is a full stroke.
Hand cramp.
So that is a full stroke. Now we're going to talk about taps, which are a full stroke at a lower level. Drum lines will define their dynamics by inches, or how they play strokes. 3 inches is like piano, 6 inches, mezzo forte, 9 inches forte, fortissimo at 12 inches, and then really, loud accents at like 15, 18. We're not quite there yet. So we're going to do taps at 3 inches, which is like a full stroke, just a lot lower. So this is a tap. Okay, now try the left hand. That's really easy because you're not having to do a whole lot of work. You're kind of just having to let the stick drop.
Yeah.
Which is really fun about that.
I like laziness.
And another thing to keep in mind while you're playing with the left hand is make sure this always stays attached. Because this is your main point of control, and also if you lose grip of the stick, it'll just go flying. Okay, so there's 2 more stroke types to cover. Up and down. So down is like a full stroke, except half of it. You start up here, and you end down. You don't come back up. So why don't you try those off the right? Great. Bring your left stick up, and it's the same thing. Turn for the wrist. There we go. Cool. So those are downstrokes. The last of them is upstrokes, which is the complete opposite. It's like a tap that comes up, almost.
You're bringing the sound out? Kind of thing?
Visually, it looks like that, but really you're not. It's pretty much a tap. The sound quality is the same as a tap. Alright, cool. Want to try that off the right first? Bring it up a little bit higher. There we go. Now left.
Can of soup.
Yes. Great. So those are the 4 basic stroke types. Now we're going to apply those to exercises. So this first exercise I have written for you is a simple exercise you may have actually heard before called 8 on a hand.
Yes.
So it's literally what you hear. It's 8 on the right, 8 on the left. And that's all we're going to do, and then a downbeat. So 9. And we're going to play that pretty slow at 80 beats a minute, really working on the stroke type, making sure we have an understanding.
So scary.
It's very scary.
Don't think I can count to 9.
Alright, we'll play it together first, and then I'll have you play it by yourself.
Just with one hand first, or?
We're going to do both hands together, and we're going to apply all the things we talked about with
Like
grip
this?
and stick position. Actually, we're going to, for the full stroke, sorry, I did not explain that very well.
Like that? Or
No,
one
I'll
hand?
play, I'll play through the exercise first,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about it after that. Sorry, I'm confusing you.
Oh, it's okay. I was just like, I didn't know one hand at a time, or...
So here we go. We're going to have a stick. I'll count off. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Cool. Now on 8, we're going to finish down
Oh,
and
so on the
lift
down.
with the opposite hand.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll play it together one time, and then I'll have you play it by yourself.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Two, 1, 2, ready, go. Alright, some things to watch out for. That was really good. Tempo was good the second time around. Make sure on this is a full stroke that we're not finishing down because we didn't get a whole lot of up that time around. Okay, we're going to try something new to really help out with the full stroke, so we make sure we're not finishing down. Instead of starting down, which is a little bit more difficult, we're going to take it back a step, and we're going to start up. So the stick will return and come back to the same level as its buddy.
Okay.
And we're going to play the same exercise.
Okay.
I'll play it with you once, and then I'll have you play it by yourself once.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go.
Oh.
2, 1, 2, ready, again. 'Great, that was much better. So, what I would have you do at home on your own is do that same thing until you can really, really play this without having to keep both sticks up. Because eventually, when we're playing faster stuff and more notes, we're going to have to keep some hands down, some hands up, and it gets really crazy. Cool. Now we're going to do the same exercise with taps. This should be a little bit easier. We won't have to like start from 3 inches and be like, we're just going to start down, and that should be easier to get. So we're going to play the same exact exercise with taps. Both hands in the center of the drum. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Once by yourself. 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Great. So that's a lot easier than having to try and bring the stick all the way back up.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we're going to make it a little bit more interesting. We're going to, instead of playing quarter notes to 80 beats a minute, we're going to play eighth notes. Think we can do it?
We can try.
Alright, well we're going to try. We're going to do full strokes, and we're going to start up here again, since that seems to help. And
Okay.
once with me, once with you. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 1, 2, ready, myself. Great. So we're getting the stick back up. We're initiating high and coming back up. Okay, great. Now we're going to try another exercise that deals more with the ups and the downs, because trying to play 8 on a hand just as downs is hard, and also can be detrimental to your playing in the long run, because it takes a lot of strength in here to get the stick back up afterwards. So it'd be kind of jerky to... It's just really tight. So there's another exercise for that called accent tap or down ups. So we're going to do some down ups. And I have that written out right here. So the exercise by itself, I'll play it once. 1, 2, ready, and... Play it one more time.
So it's just an accent on pretty much.
Right, an accent on the the downbeat of each note.
Yeah.
So 1, 2,
Downs
3,
and ups.
4. Downs and ups, right. Alright, so once with me, once by yourself. 1, 2, ready, go.
got them.
Okay. Try one more time.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so some things to watch for. Make sure when you're down that you're not too tight that you can't get the tap necessary to come back up. Because
Okay.
that's what was happening is the note was getting a little choked off. So make sure you loosen up a little bit. Like that. Alright, try with the left. Cool.
Of course, when I'm not in time.
Instant adjustment. And that's the one big thing about percussion is you really people start to sound like a broken record after a while, but it's really universal. You have to practice with a metronome. It keeps us honest, and you'll be a better player because of it. Okay, now I have another exercise to go along with that. That's a little bit more difficult. We're going to play some 16th notes now, and we're going to slow this way down. So I'll play the exercise once, so you can get it in your head. 1, 2, ready, go. Think you got it? It's crazy. Alright, try it once with me. 1,
Okay.
2, ready, go. Good. Once by yourself. 1, 2, ready, go.
Oh, crap.
Alright.
I totally got out of time then.
So we got off the tempo. Now this is a little bit more of an advanced exercise. You're shifting around the accents. But that was good. You played it right. It just needs to be in time. But you didn't stop, which was good. A lot of players want to stop and be like, I've got to fix this. But you didn't do that. So, nice. Great. So that pretty much ends the exercises with different stroke types. Now, we're going to give the stroke types a more practical use. We have these things as drummers called rudiments, which, to equivalent that to an instrument, is like the major scales. And unlike the major scales, we have 40 rudiments. There's 40 of them that every student has to know. It's mind-blowing. You can't learn them in a year. It's something that takes a lot of years to master and to gain the speed. But rudiments are basically our scale test on like an audition. Basically auditions anywhere. I've seen them at auditions for colleges, for area honor bands, for drum corps, marching band. They use them a lot in their music, so they have to put them on the audition. And if you don't know your rudiments, it can be the difference between making it or not being able to play the music once you make it. So we start learning them at a young age to really ingrain them in their head by the time they're in high school. And we're going to start with a couple of them. The first we're going to start with is a simple one. It happens to be one of my all-time favorites. It's called a paradiddle. And it goes like so. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Now what can you tell me about what you saw with the strokes?
One of them was risen as the other one was doubled.
Exactly. What kind of stroke do you think that was?
A pair?
Not quite. Not
Oh,
quite.
you were going like...
So we had a, let's break this down really slow. We had a down.
Oh, it was a full. I think? Maybe?
And a downstroke.
Well, no, there was a down, and then the other one was raised. I was preparing for a full.
Not quite.
Down, up.
What was this one?
And up. I think
Yes.
down, up.
So we had a down, an up, and then 2 rights,
Tap.
2 taps, right, and then same thing. So that's the rudiment slow. Now on a typical audition, they may have you play the rudiment just at one sort of stock tempo, or they will have you play them what we call open to close to open, which is, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, always play the rudiment open, close, open.
Which is like
So you
what?
start slow, get fast, and play at a pretty fast speed. I wouldn't say your fastest speed, because the tendency is to go so fast that you fail and you can't stop. And then you slow down back to open. So I will demonstrate the paradiddle, open, close, open, then we'll break it down and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So here we go.
Okay. Well, damn.
So that's how they are supposed to be played. We're not there yet. So we're going to start slow, and this is going to build on what we talked about with different stroke types. So here is a very similar exercise to what we did on the previous page, actually 2 pages ago. And instead of playing 8 on a hand, it's going to be a paradiddle. So it's going to be right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, with the accent and everything. We're going to try it really slow. We're going to try it at 65 to really get the accurate sticking down. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. And just keep repeating it. Okay, great. So, some things that I observed. Make sure that the hand that is playing the upstroke comes up a little bit quicker. And that will help us to smooth out the quality of sound. But overall, that was good. It looked good. It sounded like a paradiddle. It looks like a paradiddle. That's what we're going for. So, we're going to try and bump up the intensity a little bit. So these are eighth notes at 60. You can go ahead and try those. 2, ready, go. Good. So now we're going to combine an exercise with paradiddles that we learned before. It's going to be pretty easy. You're going to play 8 on a hand in quarter notes, then you're going to play paradiddles. So I'll demonstrate it for you. repeat it? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you play that, and I'm going to watch you from over here, not so close, to see how it looks from afar, because that's really what matters. All right?
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so we missed the rhythm the second time
I
around,
wanted to, like, no.
which is okay, but we just got to make sure we're counting. But the paradiddles were correct. Correct sticking, correct interpretation of the accent versus the taps and the upstroke and the downstroke. So, very nice job. So we have 1 out of 40, 39 to go. Great.
Oh, yay. Woo!
So that concludes our lesson.
Yay.
Great job.
All right.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you.